clean on paper. Everybody called it business while somebody else paid later. He stood beneath the conference lights, talking numbers like they were truth. He promised jobs, promised growth, promised everyone would benefit. The papers looked official, the signatures looked clean. Nobody asked what happened to the people in between. A lie sounds different when millions call it fact. Put enough money behind it and people stop looking back. It was $1 million lie, wrapped in numbers and suits. They called it an investment while they buried the truth. It was $1 million lie. Everybody played along. The money made it look legitimate, but the damage made it wrong. A factory promised expansion and closed the doors instead. A family trusted every word, then lost the roof above their heads. The company called it unfortunate, the shareholders called it smart. Nobody mentioned the workers who had given them the best years of their lives. The man behind the deal still shook hands around the town. He gave a speech about the future while the people counted what they lost. $1 million lie don't sound like a lie, it sounds like strategy when the numbers are right. Put it in a contract, put it on the news, give it to a lawyer, let the public choose. Call it market pressure, call it necessary change, call the people collateral and pretend that's just a game. A poor man lies, they call him a criminal. A rich man lies, they call him visionary. One loses his freedom, one buys another company. Same deception, different consequences. You don't need to steal when you redefine the rules. You don't need a mask when money makes the lie look true. I don't care how polished the numbers look tonight. If people were destroyed to make the profit right, then somebody needs to name. It was $1 million lie, wrapped in numbers and suits. They called it an investment while they buried the truth. It was $1 million lie. Everybody played along. The money made it look legitimate, but the damage made it wrong. Maybe the biggest lies don't need to be spoken. They live inside documents until the damage is already done. You can buy a better lawyer, you can buy a cleaner name, but you can't change the people who remember what you took away. I can become a fortune when men of people call it business, but a fortune built on lies still has to answer for the damage. rich sinner. When his money fills the room, they call his darkness complicated, while the poor man gets condemned too soon. There's a mansion past the county line, where the windows shine like borrowed light. The man who owns it never goes to jail, he just sends another lawyer when his stories fail. He bought the church a brand new roof, put his name beneath the proof. The preacher called him generous and blessed, nobody asked about the people he oppressed. Funny how a wallet changes every name. Greed becomes ambition, guilt becomes a game. They say the poor should answer for their sins, but rich men get invited when the judgment begins. Everybody loves a rich sinner when the money starts to fall. Everybody calls him generous while he owns half the town. Everybody loves a rich sinner, he can buy another name. A poor man makes one mistake, and they never let him change. I watched a waitress lose her home while he bought another piece of road. She missed one payment, lost the key. He missed 1,000 promises and stayed a king. He said that's business, don't blame me, then shook the mayor's hand on TV. They called his greed the price of growth. Our families disappeared from streets they used to know. I ain't saying poor men are saints, I've seen sinners with empty plates. But if we're measuring the weight of every crime, why does money make the scale decline? A clean suit don't make a clean soul, a gold watch don't make a man whole. You can hide 1,000 sins behind a wall, then call yourself respectable because you gave to the hall. They don't ask where the money came from, they ask how much the donation was. They don't care about the hands that did, they care about the name engraved in gold instead. A poor man falls and they call it his choice, a rich man falls and they soften their voice. They say everybody answers when the final bell rings, but some men spend their whole lives buying softer endings. Maybe heaven sees beyond the suit and the name, maybe truth remembers every hidden claim. If money buys forgiveness here below, what happens when there's nowhere left to go? Everybody loves a rich sinner when the money starts to fall. Everybody calls him generous while he owns half the town. Everybody loves a rich sinner, he can buy another name. A poor man makes one mistake, and they never let him change. I don't envy his mansion, I don't want his throne. I'd rather carry my failures than pretend they're not my own. You can buy the preacher, you can buy the press, but you can't buy a clean heart with a check and a fancy dress. finally see the truth. A rich man's sin is still a sin. Keep your mansion, keep your name, keep the praise they gave you. When the lights go out, money won't explain you. The rich man bought the sunset, then charged us for the view. He bought the land beneath our feet, and called it something new. There used to be a road beside the river, where old men sat and watched the water. There used to be a field behind the church, where children ran until the daylight burned. Then black cars came from out of town, with papers that could tear a whole place down. They said we're bringing jobs, we're bringing change. Funny how progress always knows somebody's name. He bought the house, he bought the store, then bought the ground beneath the courthouse floor. They told us nothing here will ever change, then sold our memories and renamed the place. The rich man bought the sunset, the river and the road. He bought the town we grew up in, then told us where to go. Sunset put a price upon the sky. They called it progress when we lived, and development when we cried. My neighbor sold his farm last spring, said he couldn't fight $1 million thing. His father built that house by hand. Now strangers call it premium land. The mayor stood beneath the brand new sign, smiling for the cameras, calling it a better time. He said the future finally made it here. Nobody asked why the old folks disappeared. They built the wall beside the riverbank, then charged admission to the water we drank. They put a gate where the old road stood, then told us private property was good. They don't steal with masks anymore, they bring contracts through the front door. They don't need guns when the papers are signed. They can take a whole world 1 acre at a time. They call it investment, they call it growth, they call it opportunity. Then take what you own. A poor man's land becomes somebody's dream. A family's history becomes a luxury scene. They tell us to be proud when the skyline grows, but never ask where the displaced people go. He bought the river, he bought the road, he bought the silence of everyone he owed. The rich man bought the sunset, the river and the road. He bought the town we grew up in, then told us where to go. The rich man bought the sunset, put a price upon the sky. They called it progress when we left, and development when we cried. You can own the buildings, you can own the ground, you can buy the newspaper, and control what goes around. But you can't buy the memories of those who lived before, and you can't buy a sunset that was never yours. But the sky still isn't his. He can build 1,000 fences, but he can't erase what this place is. The rich man bought the sunset and painted every wall, but when the night comes down, the shadows remember all. He bought the town, he bought the land, he bought the future with another man's past. They polished that badge till it looked like gold, but every bright shine hides a story untold. They told me stand still, let the law decide. I looked at their hands and saw what they had. Top bends where a poor man's trouble never seems to end. Mama said, keep your head down low. The ones with power decide where you go. The judge wore silk, the courtroom smiled. A hungry man's freedom was measured in miles. They called me a criminal, called me a threat for a debt I couldn't pay, and a name they won't forget. Funny how the truth gets hard to say when money can't purchase a cleaner way. They tell us justice is blind by design, but somehow she sees every dollar in line. The law wears a dirty badge, but tells me I should keep my hands clean. They build their walls with broken backs, then call the cracks a victory. The law wears a dirty badge, shining underneath the courthouse light. If justice sleeps behind a golden door, tell me who owns the key tonight. I saw a sheriff shake a rich man's hand while a poor boy waited behind cold bars. One man bought drinks for the whole damn town, the other couldn't buy his freedom off the ground. They preach about order, they preach about grace, then erase a man's future with a stamp on the page. They say every sinner gets the same road home, but some sinners ride while the poor walk alone. I ain't saying I'm clean, I won't ask for praise. I've carried my darkness through too many days, but don't dress corruption in a suit called law, then punish every man who dares to question the flaw. Yeah. You call it a system, I call it a game, where rules change shape when they mention a name. A code gets darker when the money gets deep, a promise gets holy when the cameras all speak. You want my confession, you want my regret, you want every mistake that I ever committed. But who keeps the legend for the hands up high? Who counts all the bodies when the numbers look right? They say respect the badge, so I respect what it means, but a symbol ain't sacred just because it can't gleam. If the badge stands for justice, let it stand straight. Don't hide dirty fingers behind the courthouse gate. They tell us justice won't bend for a fee, then send me a bill for the right to be free. The law wears a dirty badge, but tells me I should keep my hands clean. They build their walls with broken backs, then call the cracks a victory. The law wears a dirty badge, shining underneath the courthouse light. If justice sleeps behind a golden door, tell me who owns the key tonight. If the law is a river, why does money on the shore? If truth is a hammer, why the silence by the door? I don't need a clean name, I don't need a golden crown. Just don't call it justice when you only let the poor fall down. A dirty badge, and I can see the rust beneath the shine. You can lock a man behind a wall of steel, but you can't arrest the truth inside his mind. The law wears a dirty badge, but someday every mirror tells the truth. You can bury evidence beneath the ground, but you can't bury what it does to you. Maybe someday that badge will shine, not because the metal's clean, but because the hands that wear it finally understand what justice means. Everybody's honest till the money comes. Everybody's loyal till the numbers run. Underneath the porch light, said we stand together when the road got hard. Then somebody walked in carrying a suitcase, and suddenly loyalty had another price. My brother said he never sell the land till a stranger put a contract in his hand. He called it business, said it wasn't personal. Funny how betrayal always sounds professional. They swear their word is worth more than gold, until gold starts talking and the story gets sold. They say they'll never change for a dime, then sell the same promise one more time. Everybody's honest till the money comes. Everybody's faithful till the deal gets done. They talk about honor when the pockets are light, then sell their principles underneath neon lights. Everybody's honest till the money comes. Everybody's loyal till the numbers run. If your word has a price, don't call it trust. Call it what it is when the money comes. Yeah. Preached about the poor, then raised the rent on every door. He said the market made him do it, while counting every dollar like a man possessed. The mayor promised he'd protect our street, and sold the land before the week was complete. He called the deal a victory for the town. Nobody asked who got paid when the papers went down. I ain't pretending that I'm made of stone. I've had my price, I've had my moments too, but I've learned a man is measured by the line he refuses to cross when the money shines. Money walks in, morals walk out. Everybody whispers, nobody speaks loud. A handshake means nothing when the contract's signed. A promise means nothing when the price changes minds. They call it ambition when the rich man takes. Call it desperation when the poor man breaks. They say everybody's got a price. Maybe that's true, but the price you refuse is what tells me who you are. You can buy a man's silence, you can buy his time, you can buy his loyalty for one more night, but you can't buy respect when everybody knows the man who sold his word was the man who chose the gold. I don't fear the man who says he's greedy, I fear the man who says he's good and changes every rule when money says he should. Everybody's honest till the money comes. Everybody's faithful till the deal gets done. They talk about honor when the pockets are light and sell their principles underneath neon lights. Everybody's honest till the money comes. Everybody's loyal till the numbers run. If your word has a price, don't call it trust. Call it what it is when the money comes. Keep your money, keep your throne. I'd rather know what I own. A man's word is all he's got when everything else can be bought. Everybody's honest till the money comes. Everybody's righteous till the deal gets done. They can buy the land, they can buy the law, but they can't buy back what their greed has torn. Everybody's honest till the money comes. Now I know what every promise was when the room went quiet and the money spoke. I learned exactly who I could trust. Everybody's honest and there's nothing to lose. Give them something worth stealing and watch what they choose. Everybody's honest. There's blood on the back road. Nobody asked whose. The night keeps its secrets, like the rich keep their truth. That town before the sunrise came, with a worn-out truck and a borrowed name. Two headlights cutting through the dust, one road behind me, one thing left to trust. My brother said run, don't turn around, but every secret leaves a mark on the ground. They called it justice when they took his home. Funny how justice always leaves the poor alone. I learned that loyalty comes with a price, and some men sell their brothers for a cleaner life. They shake your hand while they sharpen the knife, then call themselves honest when they steal your life. There's blood on the back road, red beneath the moon. Every dead comes calling, and it always comes too soon. There's blood on the back road, time marks in the rain. You can bury what you did, but you can't outrun the name. black sky hanging over borrowed time. The sheriff knew more than he ever said, while a rich man's lawyer was counting his bread. I ain't saying I'm innocent, that's not my claim. I've carried my sins and I've carried my name. But the man who ordered it never saw a cell. He paid for his freedom and called it a deal. They say the law makes every man the same, but money can buy you a different kind of chain. One man gets buried beneath concrete and stone. Another walks free because his money talks on the phone. Backroad dust on a pair of old boots. Truth gets buried underneath tailor suits. They want my silence, they want my fear, but the louder they threaten, the clearer I hear. Everybody's brave when the weak can't fight. Everybody's righteous under courthouse lights. They call me outlaw because I refuse to kneel. But tell me what makes a clean man steal? Maybe the badge ain't dirty by the way that it shines. Maybe it's dirty from the hands behind the lines. Maybe the devil don't live down below. Maybe he owns half the town and runs the show. I don't need forgiveness from men like them. I've seen what happens when you trust their pen. If justice is honest, let it walk this road. Let it carry the weight of every secret we know. There's blood on the back road, red beneath the moon. Every day comes calling, and it always comes too soon. There's blood on the back road, time marks in the rain. You can bury what you did, but you can't outrun the name. My brother's gone, my town moved on. The courthouse stands like nothing went wrong. But every midnight, when the cold wind blows, the back road remembers what the town won't know. Still knows every lie leaves a shadow, every shadow shows. There's blood on the back road, and I'm still riding through. I can't change what happened, but I can tell the truth. There's blood on the back road, let the whole town hear. Some men run from justice, some men bite out of fear. The road never judged me, it only showed what I was, and every mile behind me still remembers because they call me a cowboy with a criminal smile. I shake your hand and study you a while. Don't judge the hat, don't trust the grin. You never know what kind of road I've been. Before the rain, black hat low, hiding half my name. The bartender asked where I'd been. I smiled real slow and ordered whiskey again. I don't start trouble, I don't make a scene. I just know things that I'd rather keep unseen. There's a wanted poster hanging by the door, but the face ain't mine anymore. They trust a man when he speaks real nice, never ask what he did to earn that life. A clean-cut smile can hide a loaded gun, and a polished man can be the dangerous one. I'm a cowboy with a criminal smile, been walking these roads for a long, long while. They see the boots, they see the grin, they never ask where I've really been. I'm a cowboy with a criminal smile, I learned how to survive in style. If you want the truth, don't ask my name, ask what kind of man walks away from shame. Walks away from shame. The sheriff came in wearing polished boots, talking about law while hiding the truth. He knew my face, but he knew me well, so neither of us had a story to tell. He said, around here we respect good men. I looked at his badge and smiled again. Funny how respect changes shape when the right man can make a mistake disappear. They call me dangerous because I don't explain, but respectable men can do the same. They steal with contracts, lie with a smile, then call themselves honest. All the while, I learned from the streets, I learned from the rain. I learned every favor always comes with a chain. You can hide your crimes behind a tailored suit. You can shake 10 hands and still be rotten to the roots. They want a villain with a face they can blame, but sometimes the worst man is the one with the cleanest name. I ain't saying I'm innocent, I ain't saying I'm proud, but don't call yourself righteous just because you fooled the crowd. I'm a cowboy with a criminal smile, been walking these roads for a long, long while. They see the boots, they see the grin, they never ask where I've really been. I'm a cowboy with a criminal smile, I learned how to survive in style. If you want the truth, don't ask my name, ask what kind of man walks away from shame. I got scars beneath this leather, stories buried underneath. Some I regret, some I keep. I don't need your forgiveness, I don't need your praise. I've survived enough men who hide behind respectable names. Judge the skin, but you can't know the war I've carried within. I'm a cowboy with a criminal smile. Maybe I'm guilty, maybe that's right, but the cleanest man in this whole damn town may be the one who's never been found out. So keep your judgment, keep your law. I've seen what respectable men are for. I'll ride before the morning light, leaving every clean lie behind. They want my labor, not my name. They know my number, but don't know my pain. before the sunrise. Wear the same boots every day. They know exactly what I produce, but never ask what the work takes away. The manager calls me good employee when the numbers look right on the page. But when my mother needed help at home, suddenly I was just another name. They know my hours, they know my rate, they know how much my hands can make. They want my labor, not my name, my hands, my back, but not my pain. They want my loyalty when profits rise, then call me replaceable when the numbers decline. They want my labor, not my name. They want the work, but not the man. They say we're family when they need us, then cut the family from the plan. From the plan. I watched a worker get 30 years and lose his job through one email. No handshake, no goodbye, just a message saying business had changed. He trained the men who took his place and walked outside with an empty box. The company posted people first while changing the locks. I don't need a golden office, I don't need a corner room. I just want the hours I give away to mean something when I come home. They want my labor, not my story. Want my output, not my worry. Want my all the time, want my youth. Want my silence when they bend the truth. They call me family when the deadline's tight. Call me a number when they cut at night. They praise commitment when I can't say no. Then replace a lifetime with a line in a spreadsheet. A worker is a machinery. A worker has a name. You can't take someone's best years and call the damage change. I gave them my time, I gave them my strength. Don't tell me I'm replaceable after taking my best years. They want my labor, not my name, my hands, my back, but not my pain. They want my loyalty when profits rise, then call me replaceable when the numbers decline. They want my labor, not my name. They want the work, but not the man. They say we're family when they need us, then cut the family from the plan. I don't need your praise, I don't need your throne. Pay me fairly for my labor, then let me take my dignity home. If my hands built your future, remember whose hands they were. A paycheck closes every Friday, but a life can't be replaced. But you can't replace my history. They knew my number, they knew my hours, they never knew my name. Sunday sang Monday liars. They raise their hands to heaven, then reach for somebody else's fire. Sunday morning, polished shoes, everybody dressed in borrowed truth. They shake hands beneath the stained glass, talk about mercy, talk about grace. The preacher says love your neighbor, the man beside him nods his head. Monday morning he raises the rent on the family living next door. They know every holy word, but forget it when the doors close. Funny how morality gets quieter when money enters the room. Sunday saints, Monday liars, hands raised high, hearts for hire. They talk about heaven in the morning and sell somebody's future by the night. Sunday saints, Monday liars, clean white shirts and hidden fires. They preach about the sins of others while protecting their own desire. Spoke about honesty, then changed the numbers in the file. The mayor talked about the people, then sold the neighborhood with a smile. The businessman donated to the church, put his name across the wall. Nobody asked where the money came from, nobody wanted to know it all. I don't claim I'm better than them, I got my own mistakes to face, but I'd rather admit my failures than decorate them with grace. Sunday they say, forgive your brother. Monday they take everything from another. Sunday they say, money isn't king. Monday they ask what your signature can bring. They call it faith, they call it trust, but sometimes religion becomes another cover for greed. They don't fear God, they fear reputation. They fear the town finding out the truth, so they build a clean image, paint the outside bright, then hide the broken people just outside the light. I don't need perfect people, I need honest ones. Don't tell me you're righteous if righteousness ends on Sunday. Sunday saints, Monday liars, hands raised high, hearts for hire. They talk about heaven in the morning, then sell somebody's future by the night. Sunday saints, Monday liars, clean white shirts and hidden fires. They preach about the sins of others while protecting their own desire. I don't judge a man for falling, I judge the man who hides the fall. I don't need a saint before me, just someone honest when it matters. If you make a mistake, stand where the truth can see. Don't turn your faith into a curtain to hide what you refuse to be. Sunday on Sunday. Sunday they pray, Monday they profit. Same hands, different purpose. They pray after they steal, then sleep like nothing's wrong. They kneel beneath the church light and take another life before dawn. Walked into the church in a tailor coat, put $100 in the offering bowl. The preacher shook his hand and called him blessed, while 3 families lost the land he possessed. He prayed for mercy with his head bowed low, then signed another paper before he had to go. They said, God knows the heart of every man. Funny how his heart always came with a business plan. He talks about heaven, he talks about grace, then leaves another family with nowhere to stay. They pray after they steal, they kneel after they lie. They wash their hands beneath the cross, then tell the poor to try. They pray after they steal and call themselves redeemed. If money can purchase forgiveness, then what does justice mean? Yeah, I knew a man who worked that land. His father built the house with his own hands. 1 letter came, 1 signature, and everything they knew belonged to someone richer. The preacher said you must accept God's plan. The banker said it's just the way business stands. Funny how heaven always sounds convenient when the people speaking aren't the ones losing it. I don't claim my hands are clean, I walk roads I shouldn't have seen, but I never call my greed a blessing, and I never ask the poor to thank me for their suffering. They pray after they steal, then quote another verse. They call the damage necessary and say the victim made it worse. They build a church, they buy a chair, they put the name up on the wall and call it answer prayer. They don't need forgiveness, they need the broom to clap. They need a preacher's blessing to cover every dirty track. A poor man breaks a window, they call him a criminal. A rich man breaks a family, they call it economical. Maybe heaven hears every word, maybe heaven sees every hand. Maybe the prayers don't change the truth when the truth still knows the land. They pray after they steal, they kneel after they lie. They wash their hands beneath the cross, then tell the poor to try. They pray after they steal and call themselves redeemed. If money can purchase forgiveness, then what does justice mean? I don't need your sermon, I don't need your gold. If mercy means forgetting, then mercy has been sold. You can bow your head, you can close your eyes, but you can't make a clean soul. out of 1,000 lives. They can bless the empty houses, but they can't erase the pain. They pray after they steal, and someday truth will speak. A man can hide behind a prayer, but not forever from what he did. So keep your Sunday blessing, keep your polished words. The poor remember everything the righteous never heard. No halo for an outlaw, no heaven in my name. I never asked to be a hero, I just learned to live with what I became. Got a coat full of dust and a past full of scars. I've slept beneath the open sky and counted every mile by stars. I made mistakes I can't erase, I've left some people hurt. I won't dress my sins in silver just to make them look like worth. They want a villain they can hate, or a saint they can praise. Nobody wants a man who says I was wrong, and I'll carry it. No halo for an outlaw, no crown above my head. I won't call my darkness freedom, I won't call my failures fate. No halo for an outlaw, no angel at my side. I got scars beneath this leather, and the truth I cannot hide. They offered me a clean new story, said money could change my name. A little donation to the right church, and suddenly nobody spoke of shame. Funny how a rich man's history gets called complicated indeed. A poor man's worst mistake is the only thing the town will keep. I don't want their forgiveness if forgiveness comes with a price. I'd rather face what I have done than purchase someone else's eyes. They want me clean, they want me saved, they want a story that makes them feel brave. But I ain't here to make you proud, I don't need a sermon from a comfortable crowd. You judge my boots, you judge my scars, while men in suits are buying stars. They call themselves respectable, they call themselves good. Maybe that's the difference, I admit what I did. I don't need a halo to know what is wrong, I just need the courage to carry it on. I through hell, I walk there on my own. No halo for an outlaw, no crown above my head. I won't call my darkness freedom, I won't call my failures fate. No halo for an outlaw, no angel at my side. I got scars beneath this leather, and the truth I cannot hide. Maybe redemption ain't a clean shirt, maybe it ain't a churchyard prayer. Maybe it's waking every morning and refusing to become what put you there. I can't undo yesterday, I can't rewrite the road, but I can choose what I become, or carrying the load. Beneath this skin, I won't hide behind my history, but I won't let it bury me.